Living on the internet is like being a full-time resident of a digital asylum. Just the other day, I stumbled across a group of absolute legends. And by legends, I mean people who genuinely believe Donald Trump personally arrests Barack Obama. I'm talking about middle-aged aunts and uncles having a full-blown existential crisis over a deepfake. But before we dissect their brain chemistry, let's zoom in on a different breed of chaos. Picture this, it's 2026. Gaming is as common as breathing. You walk into any middle school, and the boys are treating their trophy counts like a survival metric. But then, there's this one 17-year-old kid. He's in his room, playing GTA 5 on high-end PC. It's pretty standard. No, look closer. Standing right next to him, practically breathing down his neck, is his mother. Now, teenager's room is supposed to be a sovereign state, a sanctuary. Did this woman produce a warrant to enter? No, she's there because of a diplomatic agreement that's more restrictive than a North Korean trade embargo. To play this game, the poor kid had to agree to two impossible rules. First, no violating any laws in-game. I mean, in Grand Theft Auto. Second, the game ends microsecond anything unexpected happens. So he's cruising through Los Santos, stopping at every red light, while his mother hovers behind him like a human CCTV camera, verifying his, moral purity. This is a good son agreeing to an absurdly unfair treaty just to see some pixels move. What we're witnessing here is a localized domestic variant of the Karen phenomenon, a toxic cocktail of isolationism, a warped sense of privilege, and defense mechanisms gone rogue. Why do Karens exist? Can we actually empathize with them? This video is part legal defense, part psychological autopsy, and a healthy dose of mockery. If you don't like it, well, what are you gonna do? Call the manager? I know my rights! Is demanding to use an expired coupon at a CVS really a right? Most of us never think twice about it. I wonder if Karens are actually living in the same century as the rest of us. See, there was a time when the Karen was the peak of the social hierarchy, a time when their rights were the only rights that mattered. If you trace the lineage back, you inevitably hit the peak of British imperialism. Back then, the Karens of the world didn't fight over the numbers of pumps in their Starbucks latte. They issued and revoked human dignity like it was a punch card. In those days, if a speck of dust settled on a table, firing the maid and ruining her life was a legitimate right. That woman screaming at the cashier today is a genetic fragment of a great house that once had the power to destroy lives because her servant looked at him sideways. The world changed, but the software didn't, and she's desperately trying to squeeze every drop of blood out that tiny, pathetic bit of leverage. The idea that customer is always right isn't a law written in any store manual. It's a subconscious delusion of grandeur, a ghost of an empire that no longer exists. In the Karen mindset, a rejection isn't just a no, it's an act of treason. That's why the volume of their voice increases sevenfold the moment they encounter resistance. Like, they start spamming their macros. Number 1, manager. Number 2, I know my rights. Number 3, do you know who I am? Before the era of social media, this Karen combo usually just ended with them being escorted out by a bored security guard and paying a small fine. But today, the game has changed. If you are a resident of the TikTok or Reels ecosystem, you know the score. Apparently, the Victorian era lacked Instagram. Or perhaps they were too noble for such peasant distractions. The modern age descendants, who haven't quite grasped that privacy is dead, still try to get baristas fired for sports. And that's when they meet the proto-Karen. Through the power of smartphones, we've documented enough Karen samples to build an entire Kareniverse. The moment everyone started carrying a high-def camera in their pocket, the Karens lost their monopoly on the narrative. They can no longer bully the youth because the youth have the power to make them a global meme by sunset. Let's try something new. Can we understand them? Like, evolutionarily, the era where loudest voice was meaning strongest individual ended about 100,000 years ago. if they can no longer dominate us. They are, technically, a vulnerable population, and we're taught to be kind to the vulnerable, right? I'm not saying we should let them use the expired coupons, but we can look at the Karen seed that lives inside most people. We all want to claim more rights than the cost we've actually paid. It's called psychological entitlement. In small doses, it's just efficiency seeking. But the true Karen manifests when social status starts to decay. The world is moving faster, tech is getting weirder, and they feel less relevant. This creates a massive defensive mechanism triggered by a loss of control. To compensate, they obsess over micromanagement. I am the customer. You're the employee. You rejecting my request is a glitch in the universe that I must correct. Going back to our GTA 5 kid. Does playing the game legally make the real world cleaner? Does me going on a 5-star 180 level rampage make me a future criminal? Of course not. Even the mom knows this deep down, but her brain can't admit the dark truth. I am gaining self-esteem by controlling my young, promising son. That sounds monstrous, so her brain wraps it in a socially acceptable package. The human body is biologically engineered to be incapable of hating itself. It's just a shame that the system works by making everyone else's life a living hell. At the end of the day, I'm not saying this for Karens. They aren't even watching this. If they accidentally clicked it, they probably turned it off 30 seconds ago to go post on a Facebook group like, the dangerous ideologies of today's youth. I kinda get it. That's their world. People see what they want to see and believe what they want to believe. Am I any different? Are you? No, I just hope that in 30 years, the short form video trend is dead. Because by then, I'll be old, cranky, and probably desperate for some rights of my own. Oh, and one more thing. I was gonna say, what was it? Well, whatever, I forgot. And recording.